So I like the idea of like thinking of it in that context, because we think fear of success is almost, it's non-existent. Why would you fear success? That makes no sense. Everybody wants success. Why would you fear it?
And there's an element of resistance to it. I think, at least for me, I certainly have an amount of resistance to success. Like, no, I can't be that successful. I can't achieve that. I can't claim that. I can't.
I'm not worth that much.
Right.
I'm worth this much, but not that much. Then it just becomes.
Yep. And it's an internal struggle. It's all internal.
Mm-hmm.
It's all mental.
Welcome to Confessions of a Financial Advisor, the antidote to conventional financial wisdom. My name is Al, and I've been a financial advisor for over 20 years. This podcast will explore the emotional and psychological factors that affect our behaviors. All of the other financial podcasts out there will talk about the numbers and the math. We will confront the stories that we all fuse with that ultimately set the course for our lives. I am not looking for new clients and have no intention on running for any kind of office. I'm going to tell you like it is and call out all the commonplace BS. Now, let's get into Confessions of a Financial Advisor. Episode 36 with Fear of Success. My name's Al. I'm here with my co-host, Diane.
Hey.
Hey. We have a couple of different tangents to go down with fear of success.
There's a lot of different directions to go with this topic.
Yeah, because everybody knows fear of failure. That's the obvious one. The fear of success kind of does, it's a little backward. And so I read that fear of success isn't really the fear of success. It's the fear of the consequences that come from success. So that's what success brings. So maybe you think of somebody that's a famous actor, famous musician, pop star, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And bam, they're in the spotlight. What does that bring? Having all that attention drawn to you. Mm-hmm. What does that do to your psyche? I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine on a large scale.
What are the consequences of that?
And there's many, and we see them played out, in social media. We see them played out on TV. As everything else goes, it goes back to childhood. If you were told as a kid, you're stupid, you don't deserve anything, you're a piece of shit or whatever. God forbid you heard that when you were a kid. Then you wouldn't even think you deserve success. So then if you're approaching success, you'd be like, nope, I don't deserve that. Mm-hmm. So you kind of sabotage.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah. So you basically just throw a wrench in the gear and you stop the progression towards success. So that's one of the tangents that we want to go down. One other one was, it's almost this internal struggle between bragging and getting acknowledgments and accolade.
Well, and it's also the fear of standing out. It's the fear of outshining other people. That was at least where I came from it. My personal fear of success was, I don't want to make other people feel bad.
Right.
It's like, okay, then that's diminishing in some sense my own brilliance. Well,
that's also taking into account that you think you could make other people feel a certain way. Like by you saying,
sure,
they're responsible for their own reactions and feelings. But I know exactly what you mean. Don't get me wrong. I know the feeling of just having a conversation about anything. And then you want to tell somebody maybe about something that you just did, or like, I had something really cool happen to me. And then I kind of bite my tongue and I'm like, don't say that because it could potentially make somebody feel bad. Because you think, you know what they're going to do. You know what a lot of people do. As soon as you say something about yourself of, an accomplishment you've made, they just automatically go into comparison mode.
Yeah.
And so now I suck. Look what he did. He did something so great.
Danger of comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the fear of success that you and I have talked about is rooted in, it's not our darkness that we're most afraid of. Like, it's not our shadow side that we're most fearful of. It's our light. It's how powerful we might be.
Do you think
that terrifies us? And how do we hold ourselves back?
You think in some ways that shadow side, when you've been through it many times over, you start to get an understanding that there's somewhat of a floor to it. It isn't like an endless abyss. But on the upside, on the light side, it's like this never ending, it could be more expansive.
It's expansive.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't go to like darker and darker places. I'm just saying, like, once you've been through a lot of real tough times, you start to realize that really sucked, but I can freaking handle.
I've hit the bottom so many damn times. Like,
that's right. I was rolling in the gutter so many times. On the opposite side, there's no end to like the expanse. That's scary.
Yes, there's no limit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Based on what I was saying before, like allowing ourselves to show off or brag on one end, as opposed to like being very humble. Like sometimes you want to share your success, but you don't want to because that's ostentatious, or so you want to like be humble. And so like I have that struggle sometimes, because sometimes, you know, if I have a success, I want to like share it with someone. And then I'm immediate like, is this going to make them feel bad? Should I say this? Maybe it's inappropriate to say. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, it can't even. But I mean, there are the handful of people that you can have those conversations with, and you know they won't judge you, and you know they won't take it as a comparison, you know, with themselves.
So I've written about this, asking the people that you most trust that are closest to you, like, what do they see as your most brilliant gifts? Receiving that information has been really interesting because I've done that. I have been stunned. I didn't recognize that about myself. It's not our darkness that most scares us. It's our light. It's our illumination. It's our expansiveness. It's our possibility.
So instead of telling people about my own light and how successful I am, I should ask them how great I am.
Well, you can ask
how great
me.
Do you think I am?
I'll tell you.
What's my amazing qualities, Diane?
Well, I've already given you several compliments on some other episodes.
You have. Oh, stop. I'm blushing. I mean, go on. Go on.
But it's true. Like other people, and it's that objective perspective. Like, and you know that I recently hired a business coach. Having somebody outside of yourself call you out on your bullshit, but also point out your brilliance. And so that experience has actually been really interesting for me recently, because that's only been within the last few months.
And that's definitely the gauge of like a good teacher, mentor, coach. Like if they can do both of those things, they're not just giving you all accolades.
Yeah. She gets away with it because she is
But I think she's got to do that different with different people. She probably knows something about you. She's like, all right, Diane can take this, but this is where I got to lighten up a little bit.
Very in line with my style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like, this is what hits me. And I like this train of thought. And it goes throughout so many of our posts, that the excitement of success feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we automatically think the excitement of success feels just like complete elation and euphoria and sort of like just warm and cozy and amazing.
Yeah.
No, like it feels uncomfortable. Like it's, again, like your expansive light feels uncomfortable. You're expanding. You're going into the unknown. That's scary. Whether it's good or bad, you're going into something you're not used to.
Yeah.
And so that leads into the whole idea that you can have two opposite circumstances where you have success on one hand, you have trauma on the other.
Dichotomy.
They're creating this physiological reaction that's adrenaline and like just one's terrible, one's good, same physiological mechanisms going on. That always freaked me out because I was like, wait a second. How could the same person having a panic attack feel the same as a guy on a roller coaster that he paid to go on? Or a guy skydiving is getting the same reaction as somebody getting into a fist fight. Again, they're two different things. It's the storyline. It's the perspective. It's the interpretation of what the experience, because the feelings are the same. It's, it's adrenaline rush. It's your heart beating super fast. It's your palms sweating. It's your mind racing. It's just the physiological kind of stirring up, a kind of craziness. So I like the idea of like thinking of it in that context, because we think fear of success is almost, it's non-existent. Why would you fear success? That makes no sense. Everybody wants success. Why would you fear it?
Well, and there's an element of resistance to it. I think, at least for me, I certainly have an amount of resistance to success. Like, no, I can't be that successful. I can't achieve that. I can't claim that.
I'm not worth that much.
Right.
I'm worth this much, but not that much. Then it just becomes.
Yep. And it's an internal struggle. It's all internal.
Mm-hmm.
It's all mental.
Well, it was like the podcast that I listened to, the other podcast that you're on, I was listening to, I mentioned this to you before. They had that lady on that was a consultant. I forgot exactly what it was, but she was pitching, her fee was $15,000.
Yep.
And she's pitching the CEO of this company. They're talking. And so the CEO is like, what's your fee? And she's like, it's $15,000. And the CEO was like, did you say $15,000? Oh, $50,000?
50?
And she's like, no, 15.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, 15. That's great, because everybody else has been pitching 50,000. Right. And I'm like, wow, what a big disparity, right? Like that wasn't even close.
It's so funny because I was just listening to one of Courtney's Effortless Life podcasts about worthiness and confidence. And confidence is such a strong word for me. Like it comes up. It's like, well, you don't feel confident in your own worthiness. You shrink down.
Yeah.
You just wither, and who the hell is that serving? Nobody.
Kind of like our Nothing to Lose episode where once you have something to lose, it puts you on your heels. You start to take like that, inferior stance of like, oh, all right, so let me shoot low because I don't want to be disappointed because I got something to lose here.
Right.
The feeling of not deserving is huge.
It's pervasive and it comes up in so many different ways. And then we talked about the fear of intimacy.
So similar.
Yeah.
Again, same feeling, same kind of like, fear approaching.
It's like, so what the fuck if they walk away? Like, who the hell cares?
Well, intimacy and also like just opening yourself up, and then having somebody like shit on you,
right. And being vulnerable. This doesn't even have to be romantic relationships, but like even just opening up and being vulnerable with friends.
Yeah. And talking maybe about things that have some stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get to I'll talk about this. And then once you talk about it, it makes it okay for other people then to talk about it.
It opens the door and it extends permission. And we've talked about extending permission before.
Yeah. And we did mention this about clients. Once you get them to open up.
Oh God, once you get them talking, like they won't shut up.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe the things I've heard. Just everything.
The things people tell me, the stories I have held.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have too.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to give any kind of like advice usually on this podcast, but I did have like a cool thing that I thought kind of came from this. I kind of was thinking that like the way to overcome the fear of success, or one of the ways maybe, is to differentiate between what is excitement and what is like a trauma reaction. So like an excitement and a trauma reaction are the same maybe physiological things going on with two polar opposite interpretations. Mm-hmm. So when you think of success, you're like, that should be an excitement response. And I think what happens is the wires get crossed. When you have that feeling, you're like, I'm excited. I'm being successful. And then all of a sudden it could spin the opposite direction and be like, oh, I'm scared. This is crazy. I'm going into like the unknown. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to go there. And that excitement just flips. And so if you could differentiate between, no, this really is an excitement response. I'm excited because things are unknown and I am uncomfortable, but that's exciting. Whereas it could be the opposite where, you think it's bringing up maybe memories or even faint memories of past things that made you uncomfortable, past fears, past situations that put you into like a really fearful state. And so you associate those two. So I think a good practice is to, like, in those moments when you're fearing success, which you can catch them, you ask the question, am I excited or am I just reliving some past trauma experience or reaction? I think it's something worth trying. I mean, not to go back into the whole childhood thing, but all of this stuff really does kind of form in childhood.
It totally does. We didn't really talk about the fear of the loss of toxic clients and the shadow work of sitting and witnessing. And I come back to that myself a lot. Like, what am I really afraid of? Like, what am I really scared of right now?
Yeah, getting some clarity, right?
And digging into what's underneath this. What am I really scared of?
Yeah.
Am I scared of succeeding? Am I scared of failing? What's underneath the fear?
Yeah, because what happens is you get overwhelmed by the intensity of the, physiological response. Like you're in that and then your mind spins and then you have no clarity. You don't know where it's coming from. You just get worked up and you get lost in it.
The other post that we have shared is bringing the unconscious conscious.
Yeah, the toughest thing to do.
Yeah.
I heard some quote that like mother... Super fun. Yeah. I heard some quote that Mother Teresa would spend 4 hours in kind of quiet prayer meditation every day, just so she had the strength enough to do the work that she had to do.
Isn't she the one that had the quote about loneliness is the most pervasive disease?
I think so.
On the planet?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was her.
Could have been. She might have said that.
Yeah. Success is not about the achievement. It's not about the goal. It's not about reaching the destination. Like, that can feel exhilarating and amazing and great, but that's not what it's really about. It's about the journey there.
It's not the highlight reel.
Uh-huh.
All right. Come with me on this. So
yeah, where are we on?
I'm thinking like imagine you just took pictures of flowers blooming, right?
Yeah.
And that's all you posted was that these flowers are beautiful. They're blooming. They're right in season. Perfect. Like they don't show like the seed. They don't show the dirt. They don't show the worker. They don't show the rain, the winds, the sunlight. They don't show the whole transformation of it. They just show the flower. And that's kind of like what happens is we think success is that. We think success is just the end product.
The pinnacle as opposed to the journey.
Like, look what I made. Here it is. Success. It's right here on a silver platter.
Look at the product.
Yeah, I got done. My hands are clean now. Yeah. I know I know it's kind of cliche. We always say like it's not the journey, it's the destination, or it's not the destination, it's the journey. Well, I said that backwards. Our society is kind of geared toward.
But it's true. I mean, it's true. And it's not about an end goal. It's about the moment by moment experience of life. How are you experiencing your life on a day-to-day basis?
And your what if questions that always arise. It's those little tiny questions. What if?
Or what could be?
What if this blows up? What if it...
Or what could I do?
Yeah. Oh, well, on the fear side, it's more of like, what if this doesn't work? What if I'm, embarrassed? What if, this goes down the tubes? That's kind of where all those mental processes go down the tubes.
You can go there if you like. But,
yeah, it doesn't really help. The one you feed, right?
Which one
survives?
The one you feed. So fear of intimacy is an interesting topic.
And again, like you said, it doesn't have to be just romantic relationships. It's just with friends, with family.
It's any intimate connection. Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Like I have friendships that I would consider intimate relationships.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you really connect with somebody, there's something there. There's something like magical there when they're really hearing you and you're hearing them and you're connecting and you're like, yes.
And there's an element of vulnerability that feels dangerous, honestly. It feels scary. And yet it opens the door to connection.
And it's the way we're wired. We're wired for connection, which will be episode 38, by the way.
Which leads directly into our next post. So,
yeah. Yes. Actually, we can get more into intimacy with the connection post. Most definitely.
Yes.
All right. So let's wrap up fear of success.
Yeah. Success is not to be feared. It is to be celebrated.
But it's common to feel uncomfortable as success approaches.
Yes.
If you can just know that going in, maybe you won't have such a drastic cog in the wheel reaction and try to stop it. So next week, we got a little surprise guest. We have our podcast producer.
Yes.
And her name's Virginia Elder. We're going to have her on to do a special episode called Parenting Without Religion. Ooh. And then on episode 38 to follow that one, we'll be back with Diane with connection. And we'll definitely get more into like the intimacy and how we're wired for intimacy and how we're wired for
connection,
just human connection. That was fun, Diane.
Cool.
All right. So everybody, please follow us at faconfessions.com and please like, subscribe and share and review. It's always fun to get reviews and it's nice to get like suggestions for topics for future podcasts.
Yep.
So please come follow us, come visit us, and we will see you next week with Parenting Without Religion. Well, take care, everyone.
See you next week.
See you next week.